All right, so now that we've gone over vertical investments, let's go over who exactly would be ideal teammates for Evanescia. And just for purposes of this video, Rappa right here will be Evanescia, and the normal Trailblazer right here will be the Elation Trailblazer, since at the moment the website does not have the icons for the 4.2 characters. So moving on, let me save some of like the kind of obvious choices for last, and I'll go with my own personal picks because I do think that they actually warrant some discussion. First up is going to be Tinguan, and the reason why I'm picking Tinguan is because of the fact that she's able to advance action forward, and she's able to boost the energy regeneration rate of the character. And if you don't already know at this point, Evanescia has a ultimate cap of 240, so it's very much like Argenti, our knight down here. So she needs to be able to get that all the way up to 240 to get the absolute maximum capabilities. And also, you know, just advanced action forward is really good, and given the fact that Evanescia really isn't so much of a skill point hungry character, I do think Tinguan actually is a viable 4-star option. I'm kind of surprised saying that, but you know, it makes a lot of sense. Next up is going to be Donghung PT, and Donghung PT is decent here simply because of the fact that I'm going off the assumption that the Fox teacher is going to be considered like a follow-up kind of thing, and being able to possibly trigger more instances of his dragon follow-up attack to where you can provide a lot of survivability, and as well as you run the Lushaka set as his planner set, I do think is going to be somewhat viable for Evanescia in terms of not only providing her with a little bit more attack, but the survivability option. And he's also a decent unit. I'm going to put him in the A tier, but I can honestly be talked down to B tier, quite frankly. Next up is going to be the trifecta, as I like to call them, of the Harmony characters who provide a decent amount of crit damage. And I do think these three characters are very, very good. Like I said, Evanescia isn't really so much of a skill point hungry character. Like, you just want to get her ultimate off as fast as possible. That's mainly her whole premise. So saying that, having a character like Sunday is very good, as well as Bronya, I'll put right here, both in A tier, because of the fact that they're able to advance action forward Evanescia. You're also, depending on the Lycone you have for them, you can also regenerate a skill point, which is good, because then let's say you do want to use the skill point and, you know, regenerate a little bit more of the ultimate. Sunday also provides a little bit of that with his own ultimate, which is nice. And then they also, just like I said, provide a great amount of crit damage increase, which is something that Evanescia really wants, because then part of that gets converted into certified banger, where Evanescia truly shines and gets the most damage that she's able to do. Robin I'm going to put in B tier because that she does not have the same benefits as both Sunday, Bronya, Tinguan, and we'll go over Sparkle as well, getting that advanced action forward essentially whenever you want. Yeah, she's able to do that when you use her ultimate. However, that is the ultimate, and you do get a crit damage bonus, but it's not as high as some of these other characters. And I think Robin falls a little bit further behind, unless she gets a Nova Flame, then possibly that might be reworked, and you know, we'll come back to that. But I do think Robin falls a little bit behind on the other Harmony characters. Now, next up is going to be, quite frankly, like the main options you have when you look at Evanescia, and I do think Huahua is the best sustained option, which is crazy to say because I know I have her also on the Silver Wolf best team options. But the reasoning for that is because attack increase and energy regeneration. That is it. While also being able to provide healing for 3 characters is just bonkers and stupid good. Huahua is definitely a character who, I will say, I don't think I said it before, but you know, I pulled her instead of Argenti upon the initial release, and I'm so happy I did, because She has survived this long, and quite frankly doesn't really deserve nor need a Nova Flame buff. Like, she's really good just in her base kit, but simply because of the fact that she provides the attack increase, she provides a energy regeneration increase, and also provides healing. That's one extra thing that Tinguan doesn't do that Huahua does, that's really strong. Next up is going to be Sparkle, and Sparkle, the reasoning why is she's above Sunday, Piranha, and Tinguan is, while yes, she also provides advanced action forward, and she provides a crit damage increase much akin to these other two characters. Something that she's able to do, depending on what team comps you want to run, is increase the amount of skill point usage you have, while also further increasing the damage you do with her ultimate for the whole team, while also regenerating all the like 6-7 skill points. So she's very good in that aspect. And this is for a player who does not have Silver Wolf, who decides to get Evanescia. I do think Sparkle is actually a very good option. Now, moving on to her counterpart, Sparksy. Where does Sparksy go? Sparksy doesn't really provide a whole lot for Evanescia, but however, what she does provide is great sub-DPS capabilities, and they don't really, like, I don't know how I want to say this, they don't compete with one another on the same team, because of the fact that Sparksy wants the punchline, right? And Evanescia wants certified banger, so they're not competing in that aspect, and you are able to get extreme damage. It's a team comp that I'm actually interested in using. Side note, even for Silver Wolf, like, I plan on using a lot of different team compositions to, like, just to see how much we can get out of them. I'm going to put Sparksy tentatively in the B tier, simply because, like, I'm not 100% sure how the flow of the team will go, but the fact that they aren't competing for the same, economy, in that sense that, like I said, Sparksy wants the punchline, Evanescia wants the certified banger, while also providing certified banger for herself, and able to honestly get it really ramped up and going, so which is very good. But that's why I put her in B tier. She could easily rise up, but that's something that I will have to come back to, that I'm actually now very intrigued and curious about. The other two characters is going to be the Elation MC and Yao Guang, and they're both going into A or S tier, because they are both very good for triggering, or Yao Guang is very good for triggering punchlines, the aha instances, and actually increasing the elation damage enemies take. The certified banger is kind of just like a here with her. She's able to provide them, not at the same frequency as Sparksy, but because of the elation support that Yao Guang is able to provide, easily puts her into the S tier. Now, Elation MC is based off of initial V1 looking. He is a certified banger guy. He works primarily with Evanescia, increasing certified banger, which is very good. And we get them for free, and it's very good to see another Trailblazer path being very usable. That's the only ones who aren't very usable is the destruction. Like, we got Harmony, Remembrance, and now Elation, and all three of those are just fantastic and phenomenal characters. But yeah, this is going to be your top 4 for, like, the best use case scenarios for your Evanescia teams. A tier is very good sub alternatives you have that can be usable and viable, and B tier minus Sparksy, because I'm curious how that team composition will work. I'm sure you would just melt through stuff. But yeah, this is what I'm looking at when it comes to the current start of 4.2, what we're going to be looking at for team compositions when it comes to Evanescia.